Hey everybody, doing this one hopefully a little bit shorter, but this is the um, follow-up to the previous one that I did when I had the cast placed after the next 2-week block. So basically I went from the splint for 2 weeks, first cast for 2 weeks with the toes pointed fully down, then for 2 weeks in that cast, and then I was splinted again. This time I was allowed to pull my toes up, and then that was about as far as I could get them without having too much pain. They actually splinted in that position slightly right beyond where it was just comfortable. So I'd say about somewhere around a 20-degree increase. And then the most recent one, they put the cast where my foot was in a fully 90-degree angle. Now that I look at it in the cast, it looks like it may have drifted down a little bit from 90, but it's rarely at 90 degrees. So this is cast number 3. I did talk to the provider, and he is okay with me staying in this for 1 full week. And then I will go to a boot, and I will be going to full weight bearing in the boot. So this is a little bit different than some protocols, just so that you have an idea. In many cases, they might do the splint and then put you in a boot with the wedge, and then start you with non-weight bearing, and then slowly allow crutch assisted weight bearing, so partial weight bearing, as they remove the wedge and put in a smaller and smaller wedge over a progressive period of time. So it's roughly the same amount of time, just in this case a little more conservative by putting me in a cast to do the progression. It actually didn't hurt as much to go this time, because I've been doing a lot of sort of isometric kind of movements and things like this to try to work on the strength. From the pictures, unfortunately I forgot my tape measure, but you can see there's significant loss to the mass in my calf. I'll get a good measurement as soon as this cast comes off and I'm into the boot, so you can see where the final sort of muscle loss was at that point. In the boot, I will be starting some physical therapy, probably more range of motion stuff, and some basic easy walking kind of activities in the boot to see how I'm tolerating that. Probably back to work in probably a week or so after I'm in the boot. I want to make sure I have at least a week to 2 weeks before attempting to go back to work, since I am typically on my feet quite a bit. And I want to make sure I'm tolerant of that and not too slow. Maybe do some part-time shifts if needed. Just as a refresher, I'm a medical provider working currently at a urgent care facility. So a lot of getting up, getting down, walking into rooms, having to maneuver around inside the rooms. Really just can't do that with a knee roller. Some jobs, if you're more desk, could be at work pretty close to right after surgery. As far as pain, actually the pain has been significantly better. However, each time they do a change in the position, it does stretch some things and leave some basic sort of achy pain. I had some residual incision issues at the wound. There's to be some pictures that we will post. You can see there's a lot of sort of cheesy skin. This is no problem. As soon as I'm able to get it completely out of the cast, some soaks with some like a loofah pad or something like that should clean it off really good. And just realize you won't have summer feet, so don't expect your feet to be very tolerant when you're out standing barefoot or anything like that. Also, the incision line did have some scab that was there. Again, being in the cast, couldn't really do much in the way of wound care. There's no infection. There's nothing like that of a problem. There was some stitches that weren't completely removed. I was pretty tender, kind of some sharp pain when they pulled those yesterday. However, there's really no residual pain today from having the stitches that were kind of embedded in the scab. when they pull those out. So after, I expect that this will come off in a week. We'll be in a boot, and then I can get a little bit more into the activities, physical rehab that we'll be doing, and so forth. Again, just as a quick on some of the isometric, what I mean by that, I will clip in a bit of a video segment to follow this one, just to kind of show what that's all about. Again, I recommend that because that will help improve each step along the way. And if you're in a boot, you can do the same sort of things to, again, kind of help once you're able to take the boot off and do range of motion and so forth. This will kind of give you something. Plus, also, it just kind of helps with the aggravation of being in a cast or a boot restricted for so long. So hopefully this helps. We'll see you in another week or so when the next cast comes off. So what I mean by some isometrics and actually what's also called toe yoga. So toe yoga is basically some exercises of the toes to try to get some strength and range of motion. Actually, this is one of the things I learned to do when the Achilles was first bothering me, to help develop toe strength, and which helps a lot with running and preventing injury and so forth. So one of the exercises is to try to curl all the little toes down at the same time lifting the big toe. So you can do this, again, getting some flex there. Sometimes doing it with both feet at the same time is helpful. And then also going the other direction, so toe down. So in order to do this, I sometimes have to bring my other foot in and go toe down. When I go toe down, big toe down, it's hard to kind of extend the other toes. Thus, at the same time, so it is kind of a coordination thing too. So you can sometimes use another, kind of get into position and then work on doing that. So all toes up, all toes down, and then alternating big toe up, little toes down. That one's an easier one than doing the other way around, where it's all toes up, and then big toe goes down as you try to extend the little toes and hold the big toe down. That one is kind of a cramper. But again, when you're on the floor, when you're where you can touch, that actually helps a lot to get the coordination of the toes. Another thing that I do is isometric, so pulling the toes and the foot up towards the top of the inside of the cast, and squeeze, 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 holding for like 20 seconds, and then relax. Same thing, push down, curling the toes, getting a good, this is basically putting a clench to the arch of the foot, not so much as a pressing using the calf. However, I will also do this and do an isometric squeeze of the calf, just to try to get, I wouldn't do this immediately after the surgery, but it's something after several weeks you can start trying to get some, again, sort of a mind-body connection. Another one is sometimes you have to use something to oppose it, but pushing against the side, so big toes kind of like squeezing together here. And what I'm doing is squeezing and pushing. I'll also do where I rotate, and so I'm kind of angling it inside the cast, and then pushing to the outside. And again, each of these you can hold for like 20, 30 seconds. I do this throughout the day, different angles, to try to, again, keep the little muscles in the foot and the ankle somewhat strength. It's not going to prevent the big muscle mass loss, but if you don't do any of these kind of movements, you'll have even more loss of strength, particularly foot strength and mobility. So that's one of the things that I recommend doing when you have either a cast or if you're in a boot and restricted to be in the boot. Again, follow the directions of your provider and physical therapist. But that's some of the things that I've been doing.